Hey, gang, I'm starting a wee bit early today. Houston, we may have a problem. This is my man, Chris. Can you see him over there?
Whoa.
Okay, Chris, what's the deal? What don't we have power for?
Prompter, this brick for the prompter is green, but it ain't turning on the prompter.
Okay, so there's no teleprompter.
Yeah,
It's-
at the moment.
It's kind of hard in these in this lighting to see, but you can see that. Well, we're 90 minutes from
time.
air.
We have time.
We have time to sort it out. Hey, Chris, will you throw that light switch up there just so they can see? Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain what's going on here.
Well, the power brick wasn't on.
Power brick was not
Swapped
on.
the power cables. It turned on. Now the prompter still won't turn on. Now I got to figure something else out.
So down below is what we call my return, right?
That's correct.
That's where I see myself and my guests.
The program in lifetime.
Programming. And then up top, then there's the clock so that I can stay on time. And then there's the teleprompter. And right now we have no power on the prompter.
Not yet.
Not a good day to not have prompter because my program today is really script heavy.
Duly noted.
There are a lot of words. In fact, I'm just looking through. This is highly unusual. There are 10 full pages of script today. A lot of heavy stuff here for me to get through. So, all right, we'll have to see how it all pans out. So, little back of the house just to get you started. By the way, hot as blazes in the Northeast, all across the country. There's a story at Smerconish.com today about how every day this week we set heat records. Every day. If you're in southeastern Pennsylvania, if you're in Jersey, if you're in Delaware, hell, if you're in New York and you want to get out of the heat, check out Parks Casino this weekend. Parks Casino and Sportsbook, this is how you win. The action, the excitement, the dining, the nightlife, the world-class entertainment all summer long. It's not only the table games, by the way, 3,200 state-of-the-art slots, 115 table games, but also great entertainment. Joe Conklin, funny guy, Philly guy. Every other week he's there on Thursday nights. Russell Peters, the Wallflowers, Melissa Etheridge, Janelle King, comedian Tim Dillon. They're all coming. For all things Parks Casino, visit parkscasino.com, Parx casino.com. Parks Casino and Sportsbook, this is how you win. Got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. How you making out? Any progress so far on the teleprompter?
I'll keep you updated.
Will you?
I will.
All right. Chris is a good man. I'm sure he will get me on the air with prompter, and if not, I will just wing it. You know, it reminds me, there was a guy named Will Surratt. I've totally lost touch with him. I'm in my 9th year at CNN. By the way, 9 years, in the same time slot with no change, just 9 a.m. every Saturday, CNN. Well, Will was a guy who, Will Surratt and Nora Zemet, who now is at the Weather Channel and is like in a senior position at the Weather Channel. They were really the two who launched my program. Oh, wait a minute. Whoa. Breaking news. Breaking news.
We're back.
Okay. So I see myself up there. Wait, if I go like that.
For the time being.
Okay, and that will be prompter.
They sure will.
All right. We have prompter. We are ready for liftoff. Anyway, Chris, can you throw that switch? Can you throw that light switch? Hit that. There you go. There we go. All right. Where was I? So, yeah. Okay. When I launched the CNN program 9 years ago, when CNN launched my program, CNN launched the program 9 years ago. Thank you, Jeff Zucker, for giving me the opportunity. Will Surratt is dispatched to Philadelphia. I remember him coming to my radio studio and talking about a concept for the show. And speaking of the teleprompter, his idea was that it would be totally unscripted and that there would be no teleprompter. And I told him he was nuts. I told him he was just like totally nuts. I'm like, that's a crazy idea. Why would I do that? I'm going to be live, all the mistakes that I would make. I'm going to be nervous, at least initially. And from time to time, I must say that I've come back and rethought that and kind of come to the conclusion that he had a great idea. And that maybe what I should have done is I should have just, stood there with one of my yellow legal tablets and had notes in front of me, but had taken it much more radio style, complete with ums and ahs and pauses and mistakes. How would I do that? Okay, here's an experiment. How would I do it if today I were going on CNN and I had no script, I had no teleprompter. I obviously knew what I wanted to do. You want to see if I can do this in just like a 60-second or 2-minute version? Thumbs up if you want me to try it. Thumbs down if you just want me to move on and get to whatever you were going to tell us. Go ahead. Fabrizio says yes. Robert Stutz says yes. Pete Froelich says yes. Chris Mack, Mayor, Carol Anastasia Kukolski. We must be related. Mary Coyle, Tad, you all like that idea? All right. So let's just say if I'm coming on now, I'm trying to just wipe the slate clean and think about how I would do this. Just have to think for a minute, because obviously I do a lot of thinking. Okay, it would be something like this. I shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do this live even on YouTube, but okay, I'll do it. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Michael Smerconish. Welcome to CNN. Appreciate you viewing. The Supreme Court has recently handled some really consequential matters. A Supreme Court dominated by former President Donald Trump, who was able to appoint 3 of the 9 members. 1/3 of the Supreme Court is a Trump-influenced court. And there have been major decisions pertaining to abortion. That was a year ago. Affirmative action, most recently. Student loans, another category. Speech, the baker, back in 2018. And more recently, the website designer. Well, I'm going to put on your radar screen an issue that I think will be of great consequence that the Supreme Court is going to have to deal with, and it's homelessness. Homelessness, which afflicts so many individuals, 70,000 in Los Angeles County alone, and so many cities from east to west coast, but in particular, the West Coast, may be driven by their progressive treatment of the homeless, may be driven by climate. In any event, the Western United States and the entire state of California fall under the jurisdiction of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is arguably one of the most important appellate courts in the nation, probably ranking right behind the D.C. Court of Appeals, which is often a farm system for Supreme Court appointees. But the Ninth Circuit makes a lot of law. From the time that I came out of law school, more than 3 decades ago, through the fairly recent time, presently, see how I would stumble? It's been known as a very progressive, liberal court. But that's changed because elections have consequences, and Donald Trump was able to appoint a number of members of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. So too Joe Biden. But the composition of the court has changed, and it's far less of a progressive court than it used to be. I don't know if I would call it a conservative court, but it's not what it used to be. Anyway, this week, a dispute among judges of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals pertaining to homelessness spilled into the public domain. At issue here is an Oregon city called Grants Pass, which has a problem with homelessness and was contemplating what measures it could undertake to try and rein in the homeless encampments in public spaces. Among other things, they wanted to find or be able to write citations for those who are homeless. So the case goes up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals basically holds that it would be cruel and unusual punishment if you were to issue a citation to someone in a homeless encampment where the local city municipality doesn't have sufficient number of beds for its homeless population. To which I ask the question, which is more cruel and unusual? Trying to do something about the problem or just allowing the problem to continue where the folks who are there, largely because of mental illness and drug addiction, they can't make competent decisions. The dispute among the members of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals spilled into the public because of the Grants Pass case. It was decided by a 3-judge panel instead of the entire court. And many members of the court wanted the full court to be able to weigh in on this. Bottom line, it's probably going to the Supreme Court of the United States. I predict that will be the case. The Supreme Court could have taken a similar matter from Boise, Idaho, 2 or 3 years ago, and they passed. But I think homelessness is headed to the Supreme Court of the United States, where the Trump-dominated or influenced Supreme Court will put its conservative imprimatur on how cities are able to handle this. One of the judges in the Ninth Circuit said that because of this ruling recently, we've put cities in straitjackets, that they can't do a damn thing about it, and that's not fair to the cities, and it's not fair to the homeless communities either. So, file that away. Supreme Court of the United States, I predict, gets a homeless case from the Ninth Circuit probably next year and will upend homeless policy in the United States. Now, let me get to a guest on the subject. I have Theanae Evangelist with me today, and she was a litigant on behalf of the city of Grants Pass, Oregon, in the case that I've just described. Theanae, thank you for being here. Welcome back to CNN. You obviously think that the Ninth Circuit got it wrong in this case, but isn't it true that it would be cruel and unusual if you said, here's a citation, you member of this homeless encampment, and we don't even have a bed for you? Pause, wait for response. What do you think? What do you think, gang? Sean Nichols, sorry, no time left for the guest. Debbie Jones, much more kind. You got this. You know, the thing is, like, I'm comfortable. There are a couple of hundred of you right now watching in real time, and then this number will grow to a few thousand by the time the weekend is over. And I'm kind of comfortable with you. I've met so many of you, and I'm in a studio and I'm by myself, and if I screw it up, okay, I screw it up, big effing deal, right? Could I do it on television live? Could we do it live? I think I probably could. Somebody tell Will Surratt, find him and say, hey, Smerconish was talking about you and reflecting on the fact that a decade ago, you told him to do his show totally unscripted and not rely on the teleprompter. It would have been interesting. By the way, the show could be called Unscripted. The show could be called Unscripted. When I tried cases, I mean, it's kind of a similar situation. Obviously, I didn't have a teleprompter in the courtroom. If I were delivering an opening statement or a closing argument, I didn't have the whole thing scripted. I had outlines, like old school. I would have an outline. I would write out a couple of things to get me started, just so I would have a comfort level to get underway. But then thereafter, I would just kind of want to hit those aspects that were most important to the case. I remember I had a defense lawyer. I was then, when I was getting started in my law practice, I was also like a Sunday night radio host and just getting my sea legs. And I tried a case against a lawyer in Chester County, Pennsylvania. Yeah, in Chester County, Pennsylvania. And he commented in his closing argument that he was no match for my mellifluous. What the hell is the word? Mellifluous? Let me just see this. I didn't know what it meant then. I obviously knew it was a compliment, but it was a backhanded compliment because he was trying to tell them, don't fall for this guy. He's a radio host. Mellifluous. Mellifluous. Sweet or musical voice, pleasant to hear. Yeah. He gets up and he's like, hey, please don't fall for Mr. Smerconish's mellifluous voice. I can't even say the fucking word. All right. So, anything else going on? JV, Chester County in the house. Yeah, Westchester Pizza, by the way. Westchester Pizza. Mr. Art Vandelay, by the way, and you want to be my latex salesman, you can absolutely do this live, but you may overlook an important point without the prompter that you will regret having forgotten. That happens to me with the prompter, Art, every week. Every week I walk out of here saying, oh my God. In fact, I'll give you a great example. So, and then I've got to go get my noggin powdered because I completely forgot what I intended to share with all of you. Last week, I had the lawyer and the litigant, Lori Smith, her name, Kristen Wagoner, the lawyer, in the web design case that had just been decided by the Supreme Court one day prior. And I knew the story that was circulating from the New Republic about how maybe there never was a person named Stewart who was gay, who called her to set up a website for a same-sex wedding. Like, that story was already out there. I had it in Smerconish.com. And it was on my list, and I didn't ask it of the two of them, in part because I had it in my notes, but I had it at the bottom of my notes because I didn't think it was as important as everybody else. It was a pre-enforcement action. But I still regret not having brought it up. So even when I'm prompted, even when I'm scripted, I mean, the way that I approach the show is we went back and forth on the opening of today's program, which I wrote with David Handelman, who has worked with me at CNN for a long, long time. And then I have, notes that I write of questions or issues that I intend to pursue. I tend to be over prepared for these things, which might not show. I get it. All right. Well, I hope this was entertaining and engaging. I appreciate all of you. Yes, Clifton Morello, makeup, please. Here it comes. Have a wonderful day. Go vote at Smerconish.com on the polling question. Which is more cruel and unusual, fining the homeless or leaving them alone? I love that question. Please go vote at Smerconish.com. One other thing. We are releasing on video today, it'll be in tomorrow's newsletter, the YouTube version of my Richard Dreyfuss interview from Thursday. You got to see this. He is so damn interesting. You must watch the Richard Dreyfuss interview. Thank you. Have a great day. See you later.